This podcast is with Jay Phillip, who goes as Verysickbeats on most every platform. This interview happened in March of 2019. All right, let's get into it. Dude, thanks for coming on the podcast. Welcome.
Hey, man, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So I discovered you on YouTube. I think it was just I watch a lot of tutorial videos. I try to watch just about as much stuff as I possibly can because I have that insatiable need to get better and better. And,
right.
I just one day I found one of your videos. I think it was from your last year's videos during Dilla month, and you made a bunch of videos, like 5 or 6, and I think I just watched them all in a row. And I was like, man, these are so good. This dude's so positive. And what I loved about your videos is that they were little nuggets of ideas. And then you were like, dude, check out this tiny little idea. And here's 3 or 4 of them, and go make your own music. Do it.
Right.
And I loved your attitude with the whole thing. And you were like, here's some tips and tricks, and I love you got the positive energy shirt, man. And,
yeah, man.
Dude, I
lived it, man.
And then I think I reached out to you on Instagram and said, hey, yo, would you be interested in doing the podcast? And you're like, totally. So I'm very excited to have you here, man.
Yes, happy to be here, man.
So you do so much more than that, and you just recently started streaming on Twitch, doing a production stream very similar to mine. What other kinds of stuff? I went through a number of the things on your Linktree, and I did not know about that. And I totally, if anybody doesn't know about Linktree, it's super simple. It's like a website where you can load in a bunch of your different links, and then you can you only have that one link on Instagram. And then you can have all your stuff there. I thought that was super cool, so I borrowed that from you.
I talked right. Okay, cool. Because I talked about it and made a video on YouTube about that. And I just thought when I came across it, I was like, man, people have to know about this because that's the problem Instagram has with the only one link. And most cats, they'll just put like a SoundCloud link or a Bandcamp link, but you have way more than that, right? Mm-hmm. So, like you said, Linktree is basically a hub for you to go to any place you want your audience to go to. So I was like, yeah, I need to put this out there and share the info,
Oh, man, it's just so good. Yeah. So I'm expecting to see more of that out there, more people using that, because you're right. It's just that one link isn't always enough to show off what you're about, especially with, I think with music producers, because we wear a lot of hats and there's a lot of things that we want to show off. And sometimes it's like, here's like one artist I worked with or something. It's like, man.
Exactly.
So what other kinds of stuff? Like, tell me about other things that you work on.
So basically, I'm a musician first and foremost. Started out I'll try to give you a short little summary of myself.
Awesome.
I came up as a small kid, listening to my mom. My mom was a musician in a church, minister of music. And I just came up with a piano in the house, man, and just kind of listened to her and just tinkled on the keys. She never gave me any lessons or showed me anything. I was just exploring as a kid. And so like, I would try to just mimic little things I heard on the radio or TV shows and stuff like that. So I was developing my ear, not really knowing it as a kid. So at the age of 9, my mom had got me like a little small toy Casio keyboard, or I don't even remember the name brand. It might have been off brand, but anyway, I was programming stuff at that young age. And then that was the beginning of like, okay, I really like this music thing. And so I came up and then, ended up going to school, University of Cincinnati, College Conservatory of Music. And I studied electronic media. So that was my major. And, that was how I kind of like learned about Pro Tools and different DAWs. I used to intern and all that stuff. And so that was my introduction into like the audio production side. Mm-hmm. So then I just started gigging. I started, gaining enough skills to get calls from people playing bands around town and stuff as a keyboardist. So I was doing that, ended up teaching piano lessons, not reading, because I don't even read music. I mean, I used to play the trumpet. I used to read music playing the trumpet. That was my only like formal lessons. But anyway, scratch that. I suck. I'm not a trumpet player. That lasted for like
when's the Verysickbeats trumpet sample pack coming out?
Oh man, I thought about it because believe it or not, I still have it. I still have my trumpet. I mean, from the age of 9, man. So it's like over 35 years old. It's an old trumpet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, so fast forward to today, you know, because I used to get piano lessons, that was like the beginning of me like finding out a love for teaching things that I know. And so I started, you know, kind of, you know, getting into the YouTube thing and making beats. Well, I was already making beats, but I didn't start like teaching that until YouTube came about. And so when I discovered that somebody liked a video that I did on how to show somebody how to do this, then I was like, wait a minute, I need to do more of these, you know? So it kind of came on accident. So that's how I came up with the whole YouTube channel. Outside of that, I have ebooks teaching how to play melodies and bass lines on 16 pads. That, and I do teaching, I guess you could say, music consultations, Skype consultations, you know, that kind of. So I'm always busy. I have music on Spotify, like my own beats and stuff like that. So I'm always working, always.
The sheer amount of media that you put out is insane, dude.
And to be honest with you, I think I'm slow, man.
I wish I could do 10% of it. I mean, I find myself streaming, and then when I'm finished streaming, I can't. I'm like, I know I need to make a video, but I just, it's like the stream is enough kind of for me sometimes, you know. And I go, you know, I lurk on Instagram and I look at a lot of, and you're constantly putting stuff out on that. You're constantly putting out videos on YouTube. I see you streaming sometimes. I mean, it's just, man, just you got that. You're doing it, dude. You're doing all the
like
the things, man.
The more you put out, the more you get discovered. And it's like that's how you found me. And so I keep that mentality. I just keep shooting, you know, like a machine gun until something hits. You know, that's the mentality that I have. So I never take that for granted. Like somebody is really paying you attention, whether you know it or not. So I tell folks that all the time. Just keep putting stuff out there, man. Someone needs to hear or see what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think that's solid advice. I wanted to dig back into something that you mentioned. You said that you went to school and you were working on media stuff. And you said that you interned at a studio afterwards?
Yes, yeah. I interned at a studio called Sound Images in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And so, but right now I'm based in Atlanta. I've been here like for the past 13, going on 14 years. So I have a lot of family down here. So, you know, I'm not moving back to Cleveland for those that might be asking. No, I'm done. I don't miss snow. I like the warm weather. So, you know, I've been down here ever since then and, you know, it's all good. So, yeah, I interned at that spot and I learned a lot there. So, you know, I'm very, very grateful.
So you mentioned Pro Tools. That's what I very similar. After I left school, I interned at a studio and I worked there for about 5 years, and then I built my own space. And Pro Tools is what I used forever and ever. And then eventually I made the switch to Logic. And for me, my switch happened kind of gradually over the course of about 3 years. One of my best friends that I write music with now, he actually was an intern of mine, and then we just became very good friends, and we write music together now. But he was a machine user and a Logic user, and it started to make sense. It started to kind of click for me, and I found that my move was because I started doing a lot more sample-based production, and not, you know, I have the musician on the other side of the glass, and I'm hitting record on an acoustic player, but a lot more MIDI production, a lot more sample-based production, and I was also tired of Pro Tools just being horrible all the time. Dude, I love using Logic now, but I'm curious about your switch from Pro Tools to Logic.
Well, actually, I never switched. I still use Pro Tools. And I actually don't use Logic. I use the watered down version of Logic, GarageBand.
Really?
Yeah.
When I was watching your stream the other day, you were using GarageBand. Man, it looks exactly the same. I don't even know things anymore.
It's just the watered down version. That's all it is. It's the same thing, just the watered down version. So, you know, it's free. Comes with the Mac. I mean,
that's amazing.
You know what? I do want to have Logic. Eventually I probably will just buy it, you know, just so I can have more features. But yeah, I mean, I love it because it's so easy. It's very easy. I have like other programs, but I don't use them. Like Ableton, I love what people do with it, but I've just never, that's not to say that I'm not going to, but you know, I just never took the time to just delve into it because I'm so comfortable with those other programs. And, you know, the learning curve, I can get lazy, to be honest with you. To me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I just keep going. That's why I still have the MPC 2000 XL. I never got the Live. I never got the Renaissance. I never got none of the newer stuff. You know, and people ask me that all the time. You need to do this. I'm like, well, look, I can do what I need to do with what I have. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, and I'm not hating. This is not hate at all. You know, if a guy was to send me one, oh yeah, I'll be using the hell out of it. Like if they was to send me that new Force or the Live or the MPC X, yeah, I would use it. You know, but I don't want to spend the money on it because I have a lot of gear now. So
yeah, I've been same, and for me, I've been running in the studio here as you know, I have clients, I've been recording bands, and that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. The last year or so, I've really kind of been focusing on streaming and making my own music, and so it's been like, oh man, I don't need 3 drum sets.
I got a lot of keyboards that you can kind of see behind me. You know, I got like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 5, 6, 7. I got like 7 drum machines. You know, and like the rest is keyboards and hardware stuff. This is just hardware stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm good, man. I really am. So you know. Yeah.
So talk to me about where you start with working on a track.
For me, there's really no set point except to say it starts with a sound. If a sound inspires me, then I'll go off of that. In other words, if I come across like a synthesizer that catches my attention, it will automatically give me an idea. Like, I like that sound. I feel a mood towards it. You know, if something gives me a mood, then I'll just go off of that mood, you know, and just go from there. So that's basically it. Sounds. I just listen to sounds. I don't have to start with drums or I have to start with a sample. It doesn't matter. If the sound catches me, no matter what it is, I'll start from that. So that's pretty much my little mentality with that.
How do you go about discovering sounds?
A lot of times I make them. I'll either make them or if I come across, you know, a sound that I hear in my head or just like, you know, listening to other genres of music, it goes from there. You know, I've dreamt about beats and I woke up in the middle of the night like, oh, I gotta record that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they come from anywhere, man. Inspiration, it just comes from life.
Samples. Where you finding samples?
The same, like a lot of times I'll sample myself, and that's why I have all these kits because I'm like, maybe someone else could use this, you know. So also just like ordinary things. I have a series on my YouTube channel called DIY Bootleg Sounds, do it yourself bootleg sounds. And so, you know, I like for example, I was in my car honking the horn. I'm sampling these sounds. I shut the door. I turn on the ignition. You can hear the keys, the jingling and all that. I'm sampling all this stuff with my phone, by the way, my iPhone. I go back and I dump it into my MPC, make a beat out of it. You know, that's for an example. So sounds, it doesn't matter. I'll take some airbags you remember those little airbags with the bubbles that come in a package and you like to pop them? Those little, I made a beat off of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you love to do that, right? You love the sound. It's like, and it feels good. I made a beat off of that, you know? It's on YouTube. I'm not lying.
That's amazing.
So I sample anything. It doesn't matter to me.
That's cool.
Record, of course.
And it doesn't sound like you're worried too much about it. You're just like, hey, the iPhone, boom, this thing, boom. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, I don't care. Because you're gonna mix it anyway and tweak it however you want to. So what you record with really doesn't matter. As long as you can get the audio, I don't care.
How much mixing do you do after the fact? I mean, are you still, is your mentality like, okay, I'm in the tracking phase, now I'm moving over to the mixing phase?
I think it varies. A lot of times I think I'll wait till the beat is done before I go mix. But then other times I feel like, okay, I like this kick drum, but it needs some more boom in it. So I'm going to adjust it right then and there. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
If I need like some more punch in it, it's like I have to do it. I have to fix it there because that's actually it helps me with my groove. Actually, you know, like the sound, like it goes back to the sounds. If I'm feeling the sounds, then I'm getting inspired, and then I'm going off of feel. You know.
So early on, you were playing keyboards and you were playing piano, and you said you were kind of copying stuff from what your mom was playing, and trying to, yeah. What other kinds of things did the family bring to the table? I mean, what did you grow up listening to, and what were some of your early influences?
Well, personally, I'm very blessed to have come up with two parents in the house. So my mom, both my parents, my mom and my dad, both had a nice collection of vinyl. And so what I would do is go through their records. Like my mom had all the gospel records. She had all that stuff. My dad had like all the funk, jazz, and soul records. Like a very extensive collection. Like you might think one of them was a DJ. Like they was listening to some records. But so, you know, like while they were at work, I would just go, and they had all this stuff in the basement, out in the record player in the basement. I would just go through the stuff and just play, just to go through it without them even knowing, you know. And, you know, what caught my attention was all those like funk and jazz records. So like for me, James Brown, Herbie Hancock, that kind of stuff changed my life, man. And then tons of gospel, you know, just, you know, because I came up in the church, I was familiar with a lot of the gospel sounds. So. And like I said, my mom was a minister of music. So a lot of credit goes to her just having that music available for me to listen to. So,
do you play any stringed instruments? Do you play bass?
I have a bass. I have a guitar. I do play both of them, but I'm not a bassist. I'm not a guitarist.
Okay.
Meaning I'll fiddle around both until I can get what I need to get, you know, enough. And then, like I said, I'll
throw it into the MPC and.
I'll do that a lot. And sometimes I'll play an actual loop, you know, and play that out, chop myself up, sample it, and do whatever. So, yeah. Although I've played at church a couple of times on the bass. And my freshman year in college, I played bass for the gospel choir not concert, but the choir. My freshman year in not high school, but college, which is crazy now that I think about it. And I still have it, my little 4-string bass, man.
I played in a band, and I played bass in a band. I play saxophone as my main instrument, and then keyboards kind of secondary. And I played bass in a band maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, but I still have it, and I still have that. I look at it sometimes, I'm like, I should play that more.
Yeah, and I agree. I should play. I mean, and come to think of it, like not only did I play for that gospel choir, I actually played in a little gigging band like my freshman year. The name of that band was called Fatback. Fatback with a PHAT. But anyway.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was playing bass. Like, I was like, man, and I think about that, like, man, I was doing that for real. That's years ago, man. And, you know, I need to, you know, my stuff is dusty now. I mean, I made sample packs off those instruments. But I made to play live, you know. I need to do it more, you know, because I got to get my chops back up. I'm mainly a keyboardist, man. So
there's a Mongo Santa Maria song called Fatback that's pretty great.
Cool.
Yeah. So talk to me about beat maker influences, and when did you kind of come to making beats?
I would say probably high school. So like that for me, that was in the 90s. One of the biggest influences for me was first watching MTV Raps. You know, so you got your Tribe Called, you know, you got all that, the Far Side, all that style. I was really, really, really loving and digging. So I'm a huge fan of Q-Tip. As far as influences for me, I've always, and Wu-Tang, you know, it would be for me like, and not in a specific order, but I would say Q-Tip, RZA, and J Dilla. Those would be like my top 3, I guess, inspirations.
When you find something that's an inspiration, and we talked about some of your videos earlier. What kinds of things do you say, I like that thing, I want to use that in my stuff? And what stuff, do you ever kind of like leave something alone and you're like, that's their thing, I'm going to leave that. But that thing from them, I'd like to use that.
Well, it kind of goes with what I say on my YouTube channel. Like, you can use concepts and then flip it in your own way. So for me, the major thing for me, which is the most important, is the feel. Mm-hmm. It's the feel of it. The reason why I really loved Tribe Called Quest and those beats that Q-Tip made was the feel that it gave me. I love the swing. I love how he programmed his drums and, you know, how he used space. I love that. And P Rock is another one. But like with Dilla, the same thing, man. I love how he used bass lines. RZA, I love his samples, the choices of samples he uses. So I'm looking at all this stuff and like, how can I use this to my own? Like, I'll use these concepts and I guess the thought or what I think they're thinking and just apply it to how I would do it, you know? So that's kind of the approach that I take with my beat making.
I love that because it's because you can use somebody else's concept, but you don't feel as though you're not stealing from them. You're like exactly like you said. You're taking that thing and you're flipping it for yourself. You're putting yourself into it.
It's like this. It's like when we learn the English language, everyone has to use words to create a sentence, right? Mm-hmm. And you could read Shakespeare, you could read Langston Hughes, you could read whoever you want to, and you like how they put these words together. But then when you write something, you're gonna make your own sentence. You're not gonna copy verbatim that sentence, right? But you might be using the same words, some of the same words, but you're just creating your own sentences and your own thoughts. But we're all using these, you know, the language, the words.
And because it's you, the context comes from you also, you know?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that's awesome, man. I really like that.
Otherwise, it's like plagiarism, man. And if you, like, I know this from college, if you plagiarize, you're going to get an F.
Yeah.
You got to quote somebody, you know, it's just like with rapping, you know, cats be stealing other people's lyrics, and that's a whole nother subject, but
man, that line lately, I think has kind of been something that we've been discussing some in my channel of where is that line? And I've been seeing some YouTubers been kind of talking about some of those things too, you know. Are loops the line? Are, you know, if you're taking this type of sample or that type of sample, is that the line? You know, where is the line anymore? We don't know. And it's like different sort of genre institutions kind of dictate for that institution what the line is, you know? And it's tough. I'm almost to the point where I really don't think there is a line anymore unless it's like just straight up taking something and saying, this is mine, and then putting it out. Mm-hmm. Like if I took one of your beats and I put it up on my SoundCloud and I said, I made this, that's stealing. But aside from that, where's the line? I don't know anymore.
To me, that could get a little blurry, and there's no pun intended. There's no pun intended when I say that, because like that song, is it Blurred Lines? What's the cat's name? You know what I'm saying? And you had the whole Marvin Gaye's family sue them, right? Mm-hmm. So I was against that. Now there was definitely an influence, yes, but to say that was their music and to sue them, I was against that. I mean, because if that's the case, everybody should be suing everybody. I mean, because you can't, I've said this, no one owns a chord. No one. If I play an A minor 7 chord and you have an A minor 7 chord, does that mean you stole from me? No, it's a chord.
Yeah.
And then another thing with that is if you listen to Blurred Lines, you got a whole different key. It's in a different key than the Marvin Gaye song. And then, the feel is very similar. So you can hear the influence, but it's still different. It's different enough for me to say like, okay, no, I would not sue them off of that, man. Come on.
I 100% agree with you. I don't feel that is stealing. You 100% can hear the influence in it. But as you said, I think if you read through the judgment too, it talks about the chords and it talks about the feel of the bass line and how the bass line is similar, but it's not identical. And nothing in there is directly identical. And you're like,
I just shook my head when that whole story broke out. I was just like, really? It's so many. Look at the genre of trap music. 90, if not 99%. I'm being nice. 85% of all that stuff sounds alike, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. And you can thumbs down me all you want to, but hey, it is what it is. I don't think people should be suing. It's just like you have an idea, go for it. You have a chord progression, go for it. Another one, blues,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got the 12-bar. It's actually a name, 12-bar blues. Think of the thousands and thousands of songs that use that same progression. Come on, man. So you mean to tell me none of those blues artists are suing each other, but then you have this over here? That's why I'm against that.
I'm 100% with you. Let's take it one step further and let's take the blues. Let's say that there's a Muddy Waters track that you love and you decide that you're going to sample that. Is that something that, I mean, for me, for my own production, that is a hard line because I don't want to make something that then I know that I'm going to have to then go get the rights for later. Because I can, for myself, I can as easily pick up a guitar or call a friend.
Right.
But I also recognize the artistry and the artistic thing in sampling, let's say, a Muddy Waters track. And I'm curious about where you're at with that kind of, with just like sampling an old record.
Well, for me, I love sampling. Even though I could play it myself. I just love the idea of taking something and then making it into something else. I love that. I've always, I was actually sampling without even knowing what sampling was, because I go back to the era of like pause tapes, when you would take like a cassette tape and then like an actual, I saw the face, you went, what is that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, like if you have like an old school tape recorder, right? Like that's kind of like portable, right?
Okay, yeah, like a Walkman type thing.
Right. Okay. But you don't need the headphones. It can play out.
Okay, it's got the, yep, I do. Yep.
I would take that, right? And hold it up against a radio stereo, like the speakers, and record a piece. Go back on my tape player, right? And go back to that part again. And I would overdub tapes. Like it would take like 2 tapes to do this. So you would lose a lot of tape quality.
And you'd be bouncing them back and forth until you chopped up.
I used to do that as a kid.
That's dope.
So it's like, man, I just love the art of sampling. I do. I don't have to, but I just love to do it. It's a culture, man. And it's just a love that I have. And I can never see myself stop doing it. I just love doing it, So like the other thing is like, when it comes to like, okay, for example, sample clearances, you have the mentality of catch me if you can, you're going to chop it up in enough way where you don't even know what it is. I dare you to try to find out what it is, or if it's a problem, then I'll just go back and play it, fine, and that's why a lot of times I will sample myself to make it sound like a sample. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, some people have been suggesting that I do that more with my own stuff. I think sampling was really in the last couple of years has become a thing that I've been paying more attention to. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I didn't grow up doing it, and I listened to a lot of pop music and a lot of hip hop, but I never looked at that and said I want to do sampling. And so I don't know. It's just never been a thing where I'm like, that's how I'm going to do this. What's funny to me is that it's the way that a sample sounds. Chopping up a sample, throwing that into a track versus say playing the keyboard in the same way, that's going to come across totally different. It
is. Another series that I did on my YouTube channel is called keys versus vinyl or vinyl versus keys or whatever it was, where I would take a vinyl song, right? And then I would play it. I would actually play it on my keyboard and just take one small piece. And what I did was I would ask the audience which beat you like better, the chopped version of the vinyl that I sampled or the played version that and they came out different every single time. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. It's going to come out. And it's a workflow. To my discovery, workflow is one. But see, what I would do is I would sample the vinyl onto my MPC, right? Chop it up, make a beat. Then take that same song and play it on a keyboard and sequence it on the keyboard, right? Mm-hmm. Take that sequence off the keyboard and then chop that up onto the MPC. Okay. And make a whole nother beat. That's what I was doing. So then I would give the audience a choice. Which one do you like better? The key version or the vinyl version? And so I would get different opinions. And it was just amazing how many people like different things and like why. And they would think like the keyboard was more smoother or the vinyl was this or blah, blah, blah. So it's crazy.
Did you do it blind where you were like, do you like A or B? Or did you just say, this is the vinyl, this is
No, I would tell them what it was. Like I'll be like, okay, this is the drums from the vinyl, right? And then this is the drums from the keys and blah, blah, blah. You know?
I'm curious if you did it blind, if it would change the results.
That's a good question. And I've been requested to bring that series back. I just haven't, but maybe I will do it that way. Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
That's a nice suggestion right there.
Talk to me about MPC. When did you get the MPC that you have, and what's kind of been your development in that?
Wow. Well, this had to be early 2000s. So maybe 2004, 2003, 2004, somewhere along those lines. And to be honest with you, I've known about the MPC a while before I even got one because, I was in that area of beat makers and musicians that was using it. Mm-hmm. And I was always intimidated by it. I was scared of it, to be honest with you, because I came from making beats on the keyboard. Like I was sequencing all beats. This is before I even started sampling. I used to make all my beats on keyboards, strictly keyboards. Okay. So then when the MPC came around, I had a homeboy that I used to play and I'm still cool with to this day. Shout out to my man, DJ. He actually encouraged me to get an MPC. And I was like, nah, I want, it's like, it's too hard. It's too blah, blah, blah. I want to learn it. And so finally I broke down, man. And then I got it. And then he actually, he showed me some things on it because he actually had one. And so then, a few months later, I started digging into it. And then I ended up being better than him on it. And he was like, what's going on? So, and then I just stuck with it ever since then, man. And it's just became like my heart as far as my music production. I still make beats on it to this day. And he actually has his name. His name is Mingus.
Oh, yeah. Mingus. I love that.
Yes. Mingus Peterson Coltrane, MPC for short. I say it all the time.
That's so good. So yeah, man. And not only do I have the 2000 XL, I also have 500. So yeah, I love the MPC, man. It's a great invention, and I use it not just for drums, but I actually use it as an instrument. I will play it like an instrument, like a bass guitar if I want to. I will play it like a keyboard if I want to. So that's the mentality I have it, coming from a musician standpoint versus a DJ standpoint. You know what I mean? And that's why I came up with those ebooks, because I was looking online for something to help me play chords. I want to play chords on this thing. And I was looking online. How can I, you have these guitar books, you have these piano books. I couldn't find any MPC books. I was like, what if there was something like that? So I had to create one. And so that's what I did. That's how I came up with MPC, the 16-pad chord, the manuals. So what's the workflow from going from sequencing? You've sequenced your beat. Mm-hmm. You I don't really know a whole lot about the MPC. Do you then you have WAV files and then you throw those into Pro Tools, or where? Yeah.
What I used to do was I would and every now and then I'll still do this, but not really. What I used to do, I would sequence the beat. Like, let's say I have an 8-bar loop, an 8-bar, program or sequence, whatever. Let's say 8-bar sequence. I have all my sounds. I got my bass, my drums, my samples, everything that I wanted. It's cool. Then what I would do is dump each individual track into Pro Tools. Now you have like certain MPCs that have the 8 outs. Mine, I never got the 8 outs on mine. So that means I would individually play one track at a time. Like, okay, let's do the kick. Let's go back. And then that would be kind of time consuming, right? But if you had the 8 outs, then you could just play it at one time and it would record everything into your DAW. If you had the 8 outs. But I never got the 8 outs. So what I do now is I don't even sequence in the MPC anymore. I'll just play the sounds out of the MPC and sequence in Pro Tools or GarageBand. That way, I'll skip that whole thing right there, and that saves me a ton of time.
That's crazy. You used to hit play and then print in track. Hit play, print in track.
Right. I would do that. That's what I did. Man.
I've done that before with the. I have a drum brute, and I used to do that. I'd be like, because for a while I was having trouble with latency, and it would skate with the MIDI going to it, and because I would sequence in the drum brute itself, but something with the Arturia stuff that don't lock super well with time. So it's like, right here is not right there with a kick drum. Like the kick will be here, and then it'll be here, and then it'll be here, and then it'll be here. And that's the same kick in exactly the same spot every time, but it just skates around because the way that the drum brute sees that is it never locks perfectly with MIDI timecode.
Yeah, that would kill me, man.
It sits on the floor back there because it doesn't do it for me. Curious about taking a played loop versus taking MIDI and quantizing, or quantizing in general. Do you have an opinion on that?
I'm not really into the quantizing because it goes back to feel. I like the human aspect of beat making, meaning I welcome mistakes. I welcome things to be a little sloppy sounding. I actually like that. So I don't like, for example, I will never quantize like a let's say like some hi-hats, so it's just a constant perfectly. I don't like that. I like my stuff to be off kilter. That's just me personally. That's not saying that it's bad if you do, but that's just not my preference. So yeah, I've always had to feel the concept or the mentality to just don't even bother with quantize, because I want it to sound the way I actually played it. That's why I really hate mouse and key button. I want my fingers on it, on the instrument, you know what I'm saying? So, that's how I feel about it.
Do you do much MIDI stuff then? Or are you kind of throwing the samples into your MPC and then
I'll use for example, in GarageBand, the sounds are MIDI anyway, but I don't have to have it quantized.
Totally. Absolutely.
So I'll play it. So yeah, I mess with MIDI all the time.
Okay.
So I love audio and MIDI, but quantize, I'll just turn that off.
I'm relatively, I think, ambivalent about it either way. Do it in the way that you want to do it to get the sound that you want.
Exactly.
If you I feel like I'm like, sometimes I'll leave it, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll quantize it, and then I'll just move everything so that it feels off kilter.
Now, I'm glad you say that, because like sometimes if I'll turn off quantize, there's something that I might feel needs to be quantized, but I don't want that whole section quantized. So I'll go in individually. This is what I like about MIDI. I can go to that individual note and move it anywhere I want, So that part I do love about that, I'm the same way. No, I'm not going to say I'm the same way, because I don't like.
No, I mean, you had but I love you were like, no. And I love that. I love that. I think you're like, do what you want to do, but no. Just It's
all about preference, man. You know,
that's a no for me.
Make music how you want it. Make it how you want to make it, yeah, and then it come out the way you want it to come out.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody in the chat asked, was curious about your YouTube journey and that you have 44,000 subs now, over 3.8 million views. Yeah,
I didn't know it was at 44. That's what's up. I don't really keep up. I don't really keep up with the numbers like that, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew it was 40. I was thinking like 42 or something like that. But like, he wants to know, or he or she wants to know the journey, like how I started, or
you know, where you got into it. You know, do you kind of have a philosophy of when you're putting out videos? Are you playing the algorithm? Or are you just putting out videos because you like, talk about YouTube.
Okay, so YouTube, a lot of people don't know this, but the YouTube channel that I have now is actually personally my second YouTube channel. When I first started on YouTube, it was to document my hair growth. Dreadlocks. Because when I first started, and this is tell you how long I've been on YouTube. When I was on YouTube, I didn't have any dreadlocks at all. Like it was like low, like I could brush my hair. You know what I'm saying? And so I would make a video once a month. This is back in 2000 and 2006, and it's called Lock and Filt because my name is Jay Phillip. So Lock and Filt. So I would do that, and then I stopped. I stopped once I got to the point that I wanted to reach. So I just completely stopped that channel. I started the Verysickbeats at the end of 2009, and that was off inspiration. I saw a video of somebody making a beat. It might have been Kev Brown. And he was like one of the first videos that I saw of a producer making a beat. And I was like, man, I want to do that. You know, so I just showed a beat. My very first video was me remaking a beat that I already made. Okay. I didn't show how I did it. I was just doing it. I got on the keyboard and just different angles or whatever and did that, put that up. About 2 or 3 videos, maybe 3 or 4 videos after that, I actually broke down how I did something. And I noticed that someone had questions on like how I did that and like that I showed that. So that told me in my mind, like, okay, I need to do more of this because now I'm helping somebody. And because, like I said, go back when I used to give keyboard lessons, I liked the fact that I could teach somebody what I know how to do. There's teachers all in my family. My mom was a teacher. So it's just in the blood. It's in the DNA. I love to teach. So from that point on, I said, let me make some more videos, some how-to videos. And it just started just building and building and building until I put how to make verysickbeats.com. So I had the YouTube channel before I even had my own website. So I was like, okay, wow, this is kind of cool. So I just kept just doing it out of the love for it. As far as the algorithm, I really don't even pay attention to like the YouTube like algorithm. I mean, I know I need to put a description. I know about tags. I know about thumbnails, but like the technical, all the little technical stuff, I really don't follow it because it's always changing. So I focus on, let me just keep doing what I love until someone is seeing what I do as value and just keep focusing on those people that need this. So I that's my mentality. I don't really think about anything than to just help people and give out value at the same time doing what I love to do. And then after that, the rest will follow. That's how I look at it.
I think that's a fantastic way to look at it because I've been kind of trying to do the same sort of thing. And with Twitch, exactly, put out what I can. I do a lot of feedback streams. I've learned a lot about myself, probably more than I feel like I've even been able to give to others in doing feedback streams. The things that I'm like, why do I dislike that? I don't need that, and so Twitch has changed a lot of those types of things. And the more that I focus on helping or giving, one of the ones I like to focus on is, everybody's at their own place in their development and what they're trying to create. And, respecting that journey, I think, has been something that I've been really trying very hard to focus on. And that's the immediate thing that I see from you. And I just love that
and let me say this, man. I've learned that the more that you put out, the faster you grow. I definitely learned that a while back. Like I said, on my first channel, I was only doing like one video a month. That's it. And I didn't really know about growth. I was just like, man, no one even looking at my videos really, but scratch that. I just started with the Verysickbeats thing. And I was like, okay, I want to do at least one every 2 weeks. Okay. So I started to see, some growth. It was real slow. And then, like later on down the line, I started saying, I need to do like one a week, at least one video every week. Down the line passes, I moved it up to 2. Once I did that, I noticed like I had grown literally 5 to 10,000 subscribers within 3 months. And I was like, this is crazy. So then I said, let me try to push this further. I'm going to try to do 4 a week. And I only did that for like 3 weeks. I was like, no, I can't do that. That's too much for me, man. I'm about to explode. So right now I do 2 weeks. Even to this day, I do I do 2 videos per week. I upload every Wednesday and every Saturday. So it's been like that for like a while now until further notice.
That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And then
now with this Twitch thing, that's a whole nother thing. Like I said, I'm new on that. I it's important to have like a consistent schedule. So I've decided to, I guess, do Wednesdays. So what I do is, since it's live, I can just go on and just start doing whatever, live on Wednesday. Make sure you are there at 1 p.m. Eastern time live. Do it until further notice.
What days are you doing that?
Wednesdays,
okay.
Wednesdays. Now I'll put a schedule up on there, and then it might change. But for now, it's Wednesdays. At the time of this stream, it's Wednesday.
Let me ask you this about streaming on Twitch versus streaming on YouTube, especially kind of considering that you have subs on YouTube. Why did you choose Twitch over YouTube to stream?
Well, okay. I don't know if I can compare the two because I've never streamed on YouTube ever, not one time. But the reason why I chose Twitch was because it was a suggestion given to me a couple of years back while I was on Periscope. Remember Periscope? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's like, no, it was on Periscope.
I know. I was thinking, I was like, Periscope. I was like, oh, right. Yeah.
So, exactly. So, anyway, I used to broadcast on Periscope. I have a community called We Do Beats, and it's a beat making community. And we started on Periscope. Then we moved on to Facebook. And so now it's a Facebook group. We Do Beats, WEDOBEATS. So anyway, one of the members from We Do Beats said, man, you need to get on Twitch. And I didn't know anything about Twitch. I mean, other than the fact that a lot of gamers was on it and it was all about video games. What am I going to do? It's like, and he was like, back then, this is 2 years ago, you would kill it on Twitch. So the end of last year, 2018, I decided, you know what? I'm a try this Twitch thing, because I can see the potential in it, because I looked at it and I was looking for more guys like you and me, but there's not a whole lot out there. Most of it is about the gaming, right? And you see some other things here and there, drawing or whatever, what have you, just everyday life. But as far as like the beat making community is very, very small. So I said, let me just give it a try. So that was the reason why I decided Twitch. The reason why I didn't want to do YouTube was because I felt like, and that's not to say that I won't stream on YouTube, but I felt like I want to keep doing the tutorial that I wanted to keep the format that I have on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to mess that up. I want to stay consistent. So if I'm going to do a streaming thing, let's just do that on a whole nother platform. So it made sense for me to just go on and try Twitch. So that's why I'm here, and I'm a newbie, so I'm still learning.
What do you feel about with the growth of production streams on Twitch? It's been something. I mean, I've been streaming on Twitch since I think like last March, pretty regularly, and
so almost a year.
Yeah, almost a year. And I submitted to do a panel at TwitchCon on making music, which I moderated a panel at TwitchCon in October about making music on Twitch. And I'm curious about you being new to the platform, kind of seeing it from an outside perspective and being like, yo, I think I want to be a part of that. And I think I have something to offer there. What do you see as some of the holes, and what do you see as some of the things, some of the potential for growth for production streams on this platform? I'm curious. What's your vision there?
Well, my vision is to just inspire. That's my main goal to even be online, period, is to inspire and to inform. Because as I get inspired, I feel like there's a need to just reciprocate what's put into me. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And like I said, the DNA part of me wants to teach. So I'm always trying to show someone how to do something because I think it's cool. So, I mean, what I've seen as an outsider as on Twitch is I'll go to some of these, I guess, Twitch streamers that do beats. And to be quite honest and quite frank, I feel like I really can't stay on it that long because one, the personality, either one, I'm not learning, I'm not getting something out of it, or it's just like I want some type of feedback, something like you'd be surprised. Well, you probably already, but there's a lot of streamers that won't even talk or engage with the audience. And I don't like that. That, me personally, I think there's a very big hole in that. Like, if people were to engage more with their audience, then they would grow. And I think that's one thing that I have that a lot of people like about me. Like, I engage. Like, I actually respond to folks' comments on YouTube. Like, someone of my size, and I'm not saying I'm this huge YouTuber, but like, there's people with less subscribers than me that will not respond, but I'll respond, because I care, and I believe in engaging with the audience. So if I'm on Twitch and I see a comment, yeah, let's have a conversation. I'm not just going to have my face on the screen and just being quiet, just making beats. And I know there's the lurkers out there. They don't want to say nothing, but I'll at least say something. I'll even if I have to talk to myself, because now I'm entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how you keep people. And then I think that's how people want to see more. So that's my take on it.
I like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, what we're doing, it feels like the Wild West to me. I mean, we get to define what this is, and we don't know what it is yet. You know what I mean? And I think part of it is because, just like you said, there's plenty of things that I do on stream that are just super boring. And I cut those things out of the stream. I do them off time. I bring them back to the stream. People are, and I don't know. I'm not sure that the audience, the entertainment part of it is part of it. You're absolutely right. Engaging with people. I mean, quite honestly, one of the big reasons that I do feedback streams is because it brings more people into the chat. It gets more people chatting.
Right.
But there's that other part where I would like to sit and work on some ideas. And my hope is at least that, anything that I'm working on the screen, any of the camera angles that I'm using, hopefully somebody's getting something out of that. For myself, I'm not great at being like, well, I decided to use this H delay here because I'm imagining the sound in my mind, and there's a disconnect for me sometimes of, I need to try 18 things here. I'm sorry. I'm not sure which one is going to be the right thing. One of these 18 things will be the right thing. So then I'm going through 18 things. And so I sometimes wish I was better at being like, okay, I'm trying this thing. I'm doing this thing. I'm trying that thing. It's just not my personality, I guess. It's just not where I'm at with that. But I think that kind of thing is always very positive and always really fun to watch. I don't have the answer, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, but I think this would help if you keep this in mind. This is something that I'm still learning to this day, that it's okay to make mistakes, like even in front of people, because that is the thing that makes people realize you're real, and you're authentic. It's okay to show the journey of it. Like that's the problem with the society. People that's, I guess, that's well up and they're here. All they see is this, but they don't see when they was down here. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So yeah. I feel like, I want you to see me when I'm down here before I get here. So you can see that it can be achieved, whatever goal that you have.
Yeah.
You just don't start up there. You have to crawl before you walk.
Totally. 100% agree with you. I use a term, long form content, because I think that's kind of what streaming on Twitch is, I mean, you or I, we could make a beat in 15 minutes if we really wanted to, but there's other parts of both self-discovery and music discovery stuff that takes 8 hours. And I think, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'm still kind of waffling and grappling with this myself, but I think that there is an audience for that type of thing. I don't think it's a huge audience. I kind of look at that as that's 8 hours that I'd be sitting in my studio working anyway. Maybe I can have some friends hang out with me while I'm doing it. And that's kind of part of my mentality with it. And then there's other parts of the show where I'm like, okay, bring more people in, do the feedback stream. But long form content, this watching something develop over time, instead of taking that thing and turning it into a 10-minute YouTube video.
I think that the long thing, there is an audience for it. For example, her name escapes my mind, but there's a jazz artist that put out a live stream of her creating an entire album, within 3 days or something like that.
Yeah,
3 or 4 days.
Esperanza Spalding, yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about. And that was crazy. And I watched some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched parts of it too. Yeah, it was live on Facebook. But
it was amazing. It was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. It was like you could see everything, like how the ideas came and the musicians getting together. And I thought that was just absolutely amazing. It was epic to me. So yeah, there is an audience. It's just you have to figure out how to do that or how to make that work for you. Like whatever it is you're going to do, and then just go with it, Yeah. And there's people that want to see it. So that's what I think about. Like you're feeding those people, those few people, however many it is, and then you just keep feeding them, and then forget about the rest, because eventually the word of mouth happens. And I think that's how people find me,
Yeah. Yeah, that Esperanza Spalding thing was awesome. I think that was actually kind of, because I've been watching Twitch for a while. Some gamers that I like to watch, and I've always thought, man, for years, I've thought Twitch would be a great place to do stuff. And when I saw that, I think that was really, for me, kind of a tipping point. I'm like, long form, I think that was when it started to kind of click, somebody likes watching the creative process.
Somebody does.
Somebody out there does.
Somebody does. Now, we still live in a society that's very, we have very low attention spans. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, okay, I've seen 3 minutes. I'm done. I'm ready. That's why when you see a commercial on TV, you want to change the channel. You don't want to see that commercial.
Right.
You want to see your program. Forget all that, everything else. So it's like if you give them something that they really enjoy and just keep doing it, then they'll watch.
And I guess the other hard part, I'm not sure hard's the right word, but is those moments of, I guess those those moments of finding it, and that I wish I could prescribe that more.
I think that's where the analytics comes in, and that's where I'm lacking. I don't want to take the time to study my YouTube, and this is the point where the people are the most engaged. I just do me, man. That's how I look at it. Forget all everything else. Do you? And if people are on it, if they rock with you, they rock with you. If they don't, keep it moving.
Somebody in chat here asks, "What's the greatest value a music streamer can give an audience?"
Entertainment Entertainment, information, inspiration. That's my answer to that. Because if you're watching, obviously I'm presenting value. Like the people that's watching this right now, this is valuable for someone. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching. I'm not going to watch something that I don't feel like it's going to be a value. And when I say value, I mean, it could be something as simple as entertainment. You could be riding your car right now on a highway, and you shouldn't be watching on a highway, but you could be listening. This is a podcast, right? So you could still be listening to the audio of it, and you're being entertained because you're hearing conversation between two guys talking about music. And that's something that you have an interest in.
So value, entertainment value.
Yeah, that's just one aspect of value.
There was a caveat to it, as opposed to an audience just listening to that person's music elsewhere. So more specific even to a music streamer.
Do you mean like say for instance on Spotify or Apple Play or something
SoundCloud
like that?
or yeah, totally.
Well, this is the only one with actual video, right? I don't think those other things have video. So if you want to see it and listen to it, then I could see how Twitch stands above, you know?
Or a music video.
Or
I mean, you could say that.
True.
It's an interesting question. Somebody wrote inspirtainment.
That's you need to coin that. That's nice.
Inspirtainment. I like that.
Inspirtainment. I like that too. I like that.
Okay, so focusing on the entertainment part of it. Something I've noticed with is I think a Twitch kind of thing is stream for yourself. Know why you're streaming, I guess, is one of the things that streamers talk about. Like, why are you streaming? And that answer is different for different streamers. I think for myself, I like having people in the room when I'm making music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think at its very core, it's like a camaraderie thing. And then the secondary part of it is I want to build a bigger audience for myself. You know,
Exactly.
It's the self-branding thing. So being entertaining isn't really been a thing that I think has been on the forefront of my mind, which is,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just I'm musing on your thought there.
I guess that it varies for everyone, like you just said. Like for me, the reason why I'm on Twitch now is like you said, is to build my brand. Mm-hmm. I've never been on Twitch before, and there's people on Twitch that don't know about me. So I said, okay, let me kind of reach out to the Twitch world. And also it was a challenge to myself that I had last year. I wanted to do something different. I've never streamed really. I mean, I would stream live on like Instagram or Facebook, but something like this, which is actually known for streaming, it's specifically made for streaming. I was like, let me challenge myself. And that's why I decided to do it, because there's people on YouTube that don't know about Twitch, believe it or not. And it's just like there's people on Twitch or Twitter that don't like Facebook. There's people on Facebook that don't like Twitter or Instagram. So I feel like I need to be everywhere. So because I never assume that someone on Twitter knows that I'm on Twitch. And that's why I said, okay, I need to be here too. I want to be up in your face. You see what I'm saying? So that's the mentality. And look, it might be surprising to some people, but you can never assume that people know where you are, period. I mean, YouTube is my biggest platform. Most people know me because I'm on YouTube, but there's people on Instagram that don't even know I have a YouTube channel. And I can't assume that they do. You know what I'm saying? So you have to tell them. You have to let them know, yeah, I'm here. You want to check me out here? Oh yeah, I'm also here. And that's why I love that. Going back to the link tree. If you want to know where I'm at, you want to know what I do, check this link out. It's you can find me everywhere. You go down this list of links. Here I am. You know what I'm saying? So that's my look at it.
One more question for you. Positive energy, positive vibes.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that?
Because I mean, the more positivity you have, the less negativity you have. Like you can't have light and darkness. If you have a spark of light, then there's no darkness, you know? If you're in a dark room and you have a little flashlight, you can see something. You can see, you might not see a lot, but I figure like the more positivity I have, even though we live in a negative, you have all this negative stuff around you, and you know, the society, the way it is, the war and all the stuff that we go through, and attitudes and drama. If you keep that positive spark in your life, I'm telling you, that's how you get through it. It's called hope. You know, you got to have that hope in your life if you are to keep going. Otherwise, you lose. So that's the mentality that I have. I've gone through some bad stuff, but and I've talked about, like, you know, I've gone through some deaths in my family that was pretty hard, but, you know, I still have to keep that's for an example, but I have to keep the positive energy because I know that's what they would want me to do, you know, and I want to keep inspiring people. So if people see me down, that will make them down. It's amazing, man. Like here's a quick story real quick. I had an email. This happened last year, of a guy, and I talked about this on my channel. This guy was going through, he had cancer, and it was to the point where he was bedridden. He came across my YouTube channel, and because he enjoyed my positive energy and he liked just my aura of how I do beats and how I do my videos, it kept him inspired and happy. It actually made him feel better to the point where this is a true story. He beat cancer. He actually beat cancer. And he told me this. I was a part of that. And I was like, what? It blew my mind. So that's how I know this positive energy. I'll just say it, man. I live this. This is a real thing, man. So that's why I say you really, really, really have to, you know, keep your head up no matter what you go through. Think about somebody is going through worse than you. Somebody else is worse off than you, period. Think about that. You know, somebody don't have clothes. Somebody don't have food right now, you know, but you watching, you have the internet. You're watching this. You know what I'm saying? Somebody wishes they had some shoes, you know? So, you know, I just keep just that positive outlook, and I'm thankful, and I appreciate you for having me on here, for reaching out to me, and so yeah,
man. And I will say, your positive energy is what drew me to you. It's something for myself that I've been working on. I want to be a more positive person, and because I feel like I am a very negative person a lot. I just look at how you are, and it inspires me, truly and honestly. So thank you for all of the things that you've done, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, dude. Well, thank you. And let's end it here, dude. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, man.
Quick shout out to the We Do Beats Facebook group. What's up, everybody? Also, quick shout out to the Controllerized Beat Collective here in Atlanta. What's up to everybody? You can check me out everywhere. Verysickbeats, all one word. Very sick, no funny spelling. Very sick, like sick. Verysickbeats. No matter where it's at, I'm there somewhere. Look for me. Check out my website. I just came out with a new sound kit dedicated to the Fender Rhodes piano. It's my Very Sick Rhodes Volume 3. So it's a sample pack dedicated to those lo-fi heads that, you know, like to make those lo-fi style beats and boom bap soulful beats, grimy, dusty sounding. This is a real Fender Rhodes. So I sat down and played the keys and just sampled myself. I got a whole bunch of samples of that chopped up. It's online. Check me out. howtomakeverysickbeats.com. And thanks again, Mr. David Miner, for having me on here, man.
Thank you. All right, dude.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Have a good rest of your Friday, man. Have a good weekend.
Okay, you too, man.